flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-10, has been complied with and shall be entered into the minutes of this meeting.
Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood.
Here.
Freeholder Barrett Belante.
Here.
Freeholder Kenny. Freeholder Polos.
Here.
Freeholder Tamaro.
Here.
Freeholder Valenti.
Here.
Freeholder Director Rios.
Here. We have some recognitions tonight.
We have quite a few. First is recognizing the 100th anniversary of the Middlesex County Bar Association. Next is recognizing the recipients of the Knights of Columbus Council 257 of New Brunswick Community Awards for 2014. Next is recognizing the participation in distracted driving crackdown. Next is recognizing April 25th, 2014 as Workers' Memorial Day. Next is recognizing the retirement of Jane Brady from Workforce Development, and also the retirement of Patty Sipe, also from Workforce Development. And the following Eagle Scouts: Samuel Trubb, Benjamin Atwater, Tyler Caracciarto, Timothy Lee, and David Jordan.
Is there a motion to adopt the above recognitions?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Freeholder Valenti, second by Freeholder Tamaro. Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood.
Yes.
Freeholder Barrett Belante.
Yes.
Freeholder Kenny.
Yes.
Freeholder Polos.
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro.
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti.
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rios.
Yes. Okay, which is the first one that was here?
Presentations, I believe it's Freeholder Polos on the distracted driving crackdown.
Thank you, Director. I'd like to ask Chief John Zabrowski from Saraville to please join me. Good evening, Chief. How are you, sir? Chief is not only the fine chief of Saraville, one of our great communities in Middlesex County, but he also serves as president, newly elected president of the Middlesex County Chiefs of Police Association. So we're certainly honored to have you here this evening representing our law enforcement community in Middlesex County. And we're here, ladies and gentlemen, tonight to proclaim April as Anti-Distracted and Driving Month, actually Distracted Driving Crackdown Month, as we call it. And the purpose behind this is really as a result of a statewide program in which 10 communities in Middlesex County have participated. As a result of a grant that was provided by the Department of Highway Traffic Safety, 10 communities have been provided with $5,000 individual grants to put officers onto the street, specifically to target distracted driving. It is a fact, as a result of a recently submitted report by the Attorney General, that more than half of the accidents that occur in the state of New Jersey are as a result of distracted driving. That's a very troubling statistic. In fact, these people who are driving the streets, who are either on their cell phones, eating, drinking, doing something other than keeping their eyes on the road, have a 4,000-pound weapon that they're driving down the road that could veer off at any time, injure, hurt, or kill someone, themselves or innocent bystanders. So it's a serious problem, and in fact, I've said that it's a public safety concern and a public safety issue for Middlesex County and the state. We have successfully been involved in many initiatives through our comprehensive traffic safety program to deal with distracted driving. We've done specific initiatives in Old Bridge and East Brunswick, countywide educational programs in our schools, competitions for posters, information, videos in order to get our students and young population involved to understand the perils of distracted driving. And all those initiatives through our CTSP program are as a result of the hard work of two individuals who are here tonight with us, Dave Greger, our coordinator. Dave, please stand up. And Carol Burns, who also assists with those programs and works with us on all of our traffic safety initiatives. A little round of applause for Carol. But this initiative is part of what we call a three-prong approach. In order to have good traffic safety, you need education, you need enhancements, and that's to ensure that the roads are at their optimum performance, striping, signage, lighting, and so forth. And we're proud that our 350 miles or so of county roads are well maintained by Dave Campion and his crew and our engineers to make sure that they're safe. But the other third part of it is enforcement. That's the third E. And in order to have good proactive enforcement, you need police departments who are committed, chiefs who are committed, and a great dialogue between the elected officials, government, and those departments. And we're very fortunate in Middlesex County to have that through the leadership of Chief Zabrowski and all the chiefs of Middlesex County who participate and work so closely with us, not only on this initiative, but I have to say publicly, Chief, on so many public safety initiatives that we've come to you with, that I've come to you with. You've always been very supportive and willing to show your efforts to make sure that they're successful. So on behalf of the entire Board of Freeholders, we thank you for those initiatives, as well as this new initiative that's been proclaimed by our director.
Well, I would like to first off thank the Freeholders, and in particular Freeholder Polos, for this recognition. He is absolutely right. It is a partnership and a cooperation between the Freeholders and the chiefs and directors that put such a program together, and it is a very, very effective program. I hate to say that the most important part for us is the enforcement, because it really isn't. The most important part for us is the education portion. We really don't want to have to write traffic tickets. We don't really want to have to go out and do enforcement. We do it because that's part of what we have to do. What we'd rather do is have every one of you help us educate our drivers so that we don't have the issues that we have on the roads we have right now. Statistically, the biggest issue we have, I think, this particular time of year, with proms coming up and our teenagers starting to drive more often, is that 1/3 of the traffic accidents that occur involving our teenage and our young adults are because of distracted driving incidences or issues. So again, it's not simply the enforcement, it is the education that's important as well, and we count on you to do that as well. So again, on behalf of the chiefs and directors of Middlesex County, I want to thank you, and as always, we are here to help any way we can. Thank you very much.
At this time, I would just like to make some comments as far as Workers' Memorial Day. Workers' Memorial Day services that we have will be conducted tomorrow at 11:30 at the seminary at Rutgers College at College Avenue. And what Workers' Memorial Day is, it's the anniversary date of OSHA. The AFL-CIO designated that day because it was the day that OSHA was enacted. And OSHA is a department that protects worker safety. And it's so important that we acknowledge that there's workplace hazards, there's safety hazards, there's safety practices that people do, that they need to help each other stop the injuries or illnesses or deaths from workplace hazards. This is something that's near and dear to my heart, being involved in the labor movement for so many years, and we recognize that every year. Every worker, whether they are a blue-collar worker, a white-collar worker, you can have an injury. It could happen in an office, it could happen in a factory, a construction site, anywhere. Our emergency personnel, obviously, they are in danger all the time. They face danger all the time. And it's something that we have to make sure we're cognizant of and protect one another. Every worker deserves the right to go back home to their families when their workday is ended. So this is something that we bring recognition to, we bring awareness to, and most importantly, education to, that we continually practice safe workplace practices. Thank you. What's next, Margaret?
Jane Brady.
Recognizing Jane Brady. Freeholder Armwood.
Don't let her escape.
There's still time to say no. You can always take it back. You can always take it back. Okay. On behalf of the Board of Chosen Freeholders, this is just a simple token of our gratitude to you for not only all of your work here as an employee, but we also have to remember that you've been a public servant for many years, whether it's been on the Freeholder Board in Edison Township. We thank you so much for your leadership and everything that you've done. I remember you as Freeholder Brady, so I'm going to refer to you as Freeholder Brady. And I remember coming up early on and just seeing your leadership with McFoods and seeing how much you care. And I remember one quote that you said, and actually Mr. Palomino mentioned it earlier, that you said that government is about providing service to the people. And that's very true, and that sums up exactly your life and your dedication to the residents of Middlesex County. So I'm going to allow the Freeholder Director to also make some comments, please.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to Jane Grady. She's dedicated many, many years to public service, which is always a challenge, but it's near and dear to her heart. She really does a job that is really absolutely professional, and she's passionate about it. So on behalf of all the residents of Middlesex County, our Freeholder Board, I want to say congratulations, best of health, and best of your retirement. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. God bless you.
I had said no to this and was overruled, as happens many times. But I just do want to take one moment to thank everyone here, particularly the Freeholder Board, my colleagues who are department heads, office heads, etc. It has been a fantastic and amazing journey. I have enjoyed all of it. I am honored to have been able to serve the residents of Middlesex County, first as Freeholder and then as department head. I love doing it. I love being able to help people, and I love working with fantastic people who have that same passion and that same desire to make things better for everyone that we possibly can. I thank you for giving me that opportunity, and I am going to enjoy my retirement and going to do something that you may find interesting. Some of you already know. I want to write a book about all the female freeholders in New Jersey and do the research. So some of you may be hearing from me. Thank you all very, very much. I'm very honored. Thank you.
Correspondence. Each freeholder has been provided with a list of correspondence received by the clerk's office since our last meeting. This correspondence will be kept on file in the office of the clerk of the board for reference.
Is there a motion to accept correspondence?
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Valente, seconded by Freeholder Tamaro. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, at this time, the board will consider resolution number 14-738 only. At this time, I'd like to open up the meeting to the public portion only. Any comments on 14-738 only? Anyone from the public that would like to make any comments?
Move to close the public portion.
Second. Motion by Freeholder Tamaro to close, seconded by Freeholder Valente. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. At this time, I'd like to see a motion to adopt resolution number 14-738 only.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Valente, seconded by Freeholder Tamaro. Roll call?
Freeholder Armwood,
Yes.
Freeholder Barrett-Blante,
Yes.
Freeholder Kenny,
Yes.
Freeholder Polos,
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro,
Yes.
Freeholder Valente,
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rios.
Yes. At this time, I'd like to introduce from our audience our new warden, Mark Cranston, who will come up. He's going to be sworn in tonight? No?
Not this evening.
Okay. If you're welcome to say some comments, Mark.
Actually, before he does, Director, if I can just do a little intro, with your permission. Ladies and gentlemen, as a Freeholder Board, we're very pleased to introduce to you tonight Mr. Mark Cranston, who is our new warden. We'll be appointing him officially tonight. He'll be beginning service with us in about 6 weeks, I believe, the beginning of June, but doing quite a bit of homework between now and then to get prepared for this new position. The warden of this county is a very, very important position. It oversees not only our adult corrections, but also our juvenile corrections facility. We have significantly professionalized those departments over the last 10 or 15 years under the prior leadership of our former warden, the great staff that works there. The community within the adult corrections in our county provides much more than just security within the walls of those jails. They provide public safety throughout the county. They participate in many of our teams that we've put together through our prosecutor's office, some of our gang intervention teams, our 100-person SORT teams. They've been responders to Hurricane Sandy, to other events. They've been called out on all types of emergencies in our county. So their public safety impact and their public safety imprint goes well beyond, again, the walls of that prison. So the leadership in the warden is a very important position because, again, it really covers public safety in many ways. They also need to interact very closely with our police departments, with respect to our sheriff's department, transportation of prisoners, et cetera, and our courts. So it is a very important slot, and we feel that we have an ideal candidate. We did a wide search, casted a wide net, and selected an individual that has an enormous amount of experience in corrections. He literally has come up through the ranks, starting as a correction officer back in the late 80s, moving up within the ranks, becoming a warden, becoming a chief of staff to the commissioner in the state of New York, becoming a chief of staff to the commissioner in the state of New Jersey. He worked on a special task force called the Teams Unit, which is an efficiency and enhancement group that was put together by the commissioner in New York to look at the overall corrections department and determine how things could be improved. So it's an individual that has a real broad cross-section of experience in 2 states, and we're hoping that we'll be able to learn a lot from him, that he'll work with a great staff, be able to make improvements where we can, show us efficiencies where we can, and enhance the service that we provide, not only to the officers who are there, not only to those who are incarcerated there, but certainly to the residents of the county. So we're pleased to have a dynamic individual in Mark here to be a part of this group. We're very pleased. I'd like to recognize, I know his wife, Margie, is here as well, so we thank you for coming here and being a part of this ceremony. So with that, Mark, on behalf of the entire Freeholder Board, we want to welcome you to Middlesex County.
Thank you very much, Freeholder Polis, and thank you, everybody. I'd first like to thank the Freeholder Board for your support and your vote of confidence. I hope to live up to all the expectations, and I hope to take the jail forward in a positive way, keep it safe, and keep it as efficient as possible. As the Freeholder mentioned, I do have an extensive amount of experience in the field of correction, having served as a correction officer and up through every rank in the New York City Department of Correction on Rikers Island. I feel that I'm totally prepared for this position. I look forward to meeting, which I have now met, the business manager and the captain, and I look forward to meeting all the staff that work in the facility and getting to know the individuals that make that facility work and getting to know what makes that facility shine. And that's something that I want to capitalize on. I want to take that forward and try to get even more efficient and better at what we do and keep it safe. So thank you to the audience and thank you to everybody for your support. And I look forward to beginning on June 2nd. Thank you.
Director, if I may, with your permission, I would just like to take a moment to recognize Captain LaSala, who's here, who's been working diligently with the rest of the command staff during the intervening period between Warden Chicky's leaving and our new warden starting. But I would also like to take a moment, if I may, to thank an individual who has really stepped up to the plate during this intervening period, showed a lot of leadership to help us through some difficult times, this transition period. I know he'll be an integral part of the transition to the new warden. He's been with us a long time. He knows the corrections facilities well and has done a great job in pulling things together and keeping us on track. I'd like to recognize Brian Fenyak. Brian, please stand up. Thank you so much for
I would like to add also that being involved in the interview process, we had many, many candidates and we had many qualified candidates, but we really feel lucky that we have Mark. We welcome Mark with open arms. I'm sure you're going to do a great job, and we have a great staff and a great team there, and I'm sure it's going to be positive results at the end of the day. But good luck to you. Congratulations again. Okay, at this time, ordinances.
We have a few this evening. Ordinance 14-410, which I'll read by title only. County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, Bond Ordinance Number 14-410. 14-410. Bond ordinance providing for various 2014 capital improvements by and in the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $24,761,000 therefore, and authorizing $23,581,904 bonds or notes of the county to finance part of the cost thereof, and authorizing the public hearing to be held on Thursday, May 8, 2014, at 7 p.m. and publication thereof.
This time, is there a motion to
adopt ordinance number 14-410 on first reading.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Valente, seconded by Freeholder Tamaro. Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood,
Yes.
Freeholder Barabalante,
Yes.
Freeholder Kenny,
Yes.
Freeholder Polos,
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro,
Yes.
Freeholder Valente,
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rios.
Yes. Next is 14-411.
The title of that ordinance is Bond Ordinance Providing for the Acquisition of Capital Equipment and the Undertaking of Various 2014 Capital Improvements at and for facilities of Middlesex County College located within the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $2 million therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $2 million bonds or notes of the county for financing such appropriation, and authorizing the public hearing to be held on Thursday, May 8, 2014, at 7 p.m. and publication thereof.
Okay, at this time, is motion is in order to adopt ordinance number 14-411 on first reading.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Valente, seconded by Freeholder Tamaro. Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood,
Yes.
Freeholder Barabalante,
Yes.
Freeholder Kenny,
Yes.
Freeholder Polos,
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro,
Yes.
Freeholder Valente,
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rios.
Yes. Next is 14-412.
Bond ordinance providing for the undertaking of 2014 capital improvements at and for certain facilities of Middlesex County College located within the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $3,200,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3,200,000 bonds or notes of the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, for financing such appropriation, the principal of and interest on the aggregate principal amount of which will be entitled to state aid pursuant to Chapter 12 of the Laws of New Jersey of 1971, and authorizing the public hearing to be held on Thursday, May 8, 2014, at 7 p.m. and publication thereof.
Motion is in order to adopt on first reading ordinance number 14-412.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Valente, seconded by Freeholder Tamaro. Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood,
Yes.
Freeholder Barabalante,
Yes.
Freeholder Kenny,
Yes.
Freeholder Polos,
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro,
Yes.
Freeholder Valente,
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rios.
Yes. Next is 14-413.
Bond ordinance providing for 2014 general capital improvements and the acquisition of equipment for the Middlesex County Vocational and Technical High Schools located within the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $3,100,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3,100,000 bonds or notes of the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, for financing such appropriation and authorizing a public hearing to be held Thursday, May 8th, 2014 at 7 p.m. and authorizing publication thereof.
Motion is in order to adopt ordinance number 14-413 on first reading.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Valente, seconded by Freeholder Tamaro. Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood,
Yes.
Freeholder Barabalante,
Yes.
Freeholder Kenny,
Yes.
Freeholder Polos,
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro,
Yes.
Freeholder Valente,
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rios.
Yes. Next is ordinance number 14-414.
Bond ordinance providing for the acquisition of deed title to real property designated as 181 Howe Lane, New Brunswick, Lot 19.03, Block 597.01 on the official tax map of the City of New Brunswick, occupied by the Middlesex County Board of Social Services, by and for the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $8,300,000 to fund the cost thereof, and authorizing the issuance of $8,300,000 bonds or notes of the county to finance such appropriation, and authorizing a public hearing to be held Thursday, May 8, 2014 at 7 p.m. and authorizing publication thereof.
Motion is in order to adopt ordinance number 14-414 on first reading.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Valente, seconded by Freeholder Tamaro. Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood,
Yes.
Freeholder Barabalante,
Yes.
Freeholder Kenny,
Yes.
Freeholder Polos,
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro,
Yes.
Freeholder Valente,
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rios.
Yes. Next is 14-415.
Bond ordinance providing for the undertaking of 2014 capital improvements at and for certain facilities of Middlesex County College located within the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, in connection with the State Building Our Future Bond Act program, pursuant to which the state provides 75% matching grant funds, appropriating $3,400,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3,400,000 bonds or notes of the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, and authorizing the public hearing to be held on Thursday, May 8, 2014 at 7 p.m. and publication thereof.
Is there a motion to adopt ordinance number 14-415 on first reading?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Freeholder Valenti, seconded by Freeholder Tamara. Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood,
Yes.
Freeholder Barrett Galante,
Yes.
Freeholder Kenny,
Yes.
Freeholder Polos,
Yes.
Freeholder Tamara,
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti,
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rios.
Yes. This time, reports of freeholders. Freeholder Ken Armwood.
Thank you, Freeholder Director. Two schools in Middlesex County, in the Middlesex County Vocational and Technical School District, received gold medal status in U.S. News and World Report's 2014 ranking of the best public high schools in the United States. The Middlesex County Academy for Science, Mathematics, and Engineering Technologies in Edison received a gold medal for the second consecutive year, ranking fourth among New Jersey high schools and 107th nationally. Last year, the Edison Academy was 6th in New Jersey and 146th in the nation. The Middlesex County Academy for Allied Health and Biomedical Sciences in Woodbridge received gold medal recognition for the first time. It was ranked 23rd among New Jersey high schools and 398th nationally. Last year, it received bronze medal status. From the Cultural and Heritage Commission, through hundreds of never-before exhibited artifacts, images, and interactive displays, the history of a lost colonial port community is brought to life in this landmark permanent exhibit at East Jersey Old Town Village in Piscataway. The community's strategic location during the Revolutionary War resulted in devastation as both sides fought over it. The community flourished in the 1700s as an important trading location along the Raritan River. Sailing vessels laden with manufactured goods from all over the world made their way to this port. The community was rebuilt after the war, but by the early 1800s declined as trade shifted further downstream to New Brunswick. With its trade gone, community with its buildings, people, and artifacts slowly faded into history. Since the 1970s, archaeological investigations done in compliance with federal laws that protect cultural resources have uncovered foundation walls and troves of artifacts relating to life at the landing in the 18th and 19th centuries. This exhibit uses those finds to tell the story of Raritan Landing and its rediscovery. Objects from the Revolutionary War, including buttons from the uniform of a British soldier, musket balls, gun parts, bottles, dishes, and more will be on display. To RSVP, call 732-745-4489, and this will be on Sunday, May 4th at 1:30, Raritan Landing, Uncovering a Forgotten Past. And if you will indulge me for this last part here, tonight I was fortunate that I actually have four of some shining stars from another part of my life, which is what I do when I'm not here in this building, which is I work at the Edison Job Corps Academy. So if you'd indulge me, and I know they're going to hate me tomorrow, but they'll just have to deal with it. If they could stand up, they're in the audience here. You can take your hand off your face and stand up. I'm the disciplinarian at Job Corps. So, I'm the disciplinarian at Job Corps, so they just have to deal with it. Oh, you can stay standing. Yeah, you can stay standing. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, these students are from the Edison Job Corps Academy. And one of the reasons why they're here is that they're either part of or will be part of our student government. So they're learning how government works on the county level. They also visited an Edison Town Council meeting. But moreover, one of the missions that we have is that oftentimes Job Corps has gotten labeled as a place where troubled youth go and almost labeled as a youth detention. And when you get a chance, talk to some of these young people and you'll realize where they're going in life. That if we give young people a chance at redemption, you'll be amazed at where they can go in life. Freeholder Director Rios and Mr. Pulamina both met with these young people as they talked about going on to develop their own restaurants and bakeries. And I got a young man who I'm trying to convince not to come back and work at Job Corps because there's no money at Job Corps. And I said that on camera, so if I don't have a job tomorrow, you all know why. And we have a young lady from Tampa, Florida, who will be a future enrollee come September in the Middlesex County College. These are the types of young people that we have out in the community, and the reason why I ask them to stand is that I often want young people to stand up proud before the public and let people know exactly where they're going in life, and we need to just encourage young people like these to continue on that path and continue to give them opportunities to be successful in life. So I thank them for everything they do on a daily basis to make me a better person. So thank you. And that concludes my report, Freeholder Director. Thank you.
Freeholder Deputy Director Carol Barrett-Galante.
Mr. Director, this year, Middlesex County is embracing a Get Out the Vote initiative to make it easier for our citizens to participate in the democratic process. As Americans, one of the most precious rights we enjoy is the right to vote. Whether the elections are of national or local, we have the right to say who we wish to represent us and to add our vote to public questions on policy. Most people are familiar with the practice of absentee voting, a way in which individuals can vote if they're going to be out of town on the day of the election. Recognizing that there are many reasons why individuals may find it difficult to get to the polls and wanting to provide all of our residents with the opportunity to vote, the Board of Chosen Freeholders is embracing the vote by mail option. Through vote by mail, registered voters can choose to receive official mail-in ballots for the primary, general, or any special elections that occur in a given year. They can also choose to have the ballots for all future elections sent to them. And I wanted to emphasize that this initiative is a choice. People who prefer to find it easier to vote by mail can do so. Those who would rather go to the polls can continue to vote in person. The choice is yours. Earlier this month, Middlesex County Clerk Elaine Flynn sent an invitation to our voters to apply for a vote-by-mail ballot. So far, we have more than 5,500 people who have responded to this flyer, indicating that they would like to vote by mail. We expect this number to continue to rise as more people learn about this option. Any registered voter is eligible to apply for the vote by mail program for any reason and for any election. If you choose to utilize this system, you simply complete the application, include it with the initial letter, and return it to the county clerk's office no later than 7 days prior to the election date. No postage is required since the application and the ballot envelope are both prepaid. Once the clerk's office receives the application, a ballot will be sent to all those requesting them in time for the election, whether it's the general, school, fire, or any special election. My freeholder colleagues and I believe that the vote-by-mail system will ease voting for our residents and make increase level of voter turnout. If you have any questions regarding Middlesex County's vote-by-mail initiative, please call the county clerk's office at 732-745-3005 or visit the county website. If you would like to apply for a vote-by-mail ballot online, visit www.njelections.org. And that's my report.
Freeholder Charles Kenny.
If I could just follow up on that, Deputy Director, I am a vote-by-mail person, and I have been for the last few years. I actually came home from work today, and normally what I do is for the fire district elections, I apply then, and then I came home from work today and I already have my ballot. It was in today's mail for the primary. And vote by mail is one of those things where, like when you go to pay your credit card bills online or your bills online or you do banking online, at first you say, oh, what am I going to do that for? You know, I can just go to the mailbox or I can just go to the bank. And all of a sudden, the first time you do it, you know, and you go through the year, all of a sudden you say, how come I haven't been doing that, you know, sooner? And it's a great way. It's one of those things where you don't have to worry on election day to get out there, to have your voice heard. And as you know, everybody up here, election days can get kind of crazy. So it makes it easier to be able to get around. So I just want to put a vote out there for a vote by mail.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Just some items that we had on tonight's agenda. As you heard, we had 5 capital ordinances introduced tonight. The capital ordinances are yearly capital improvements that we do. But in 410, we're going to be looking at improvements to the quality of life for taxpayers in many areas. The board will be approving specific projects for this ordinance in the future, and I'm sure that each director whose department that falls under will be speaking about those projects. In ordinances 411, 412, 413, and 415, we deal with the county educational system and provide funding for our vocational schools in various campuses. And as I said, those projects will be spoken about in the future as we move forward. For the county college, the ordinances will provide money to begin the alteration of the 40-year-old science labs, construction of the additional instructional and laboratory space for the college's planned new academic science building that has been spoken about before and during the reorganization. By adopting these ordinances, we continue to stand firm in our commitment to offer the highest quality education to the residents of Middlesex County, because the cornerstone of a great community is a top-notch education. And another item that's going to be on the agenda for tonight, we're continuing to maximize our dollars, our bond dollars, and in 14617, you'll see that we're clearing $39 million of old bond debt. And one of the reasons we're doing that is to help improve, as an ongoing plan, our rating system with the bond agencies, and by reducing our debt, it makes us look more favorable to not only the bond agency rating that we're using now, but the other ones we hope to go to in the near future. And under this, we've looked back, we're clearing that out, but about $7 million is going to be used down the road in future bond ordinances so we can get some more work done. And the reason that we're able to do that is because during these projects, the hard work that was put in by the departments that they fell under to watch the cost of the project, to keep cost under control, helped us save money in those bond ordinances. And instead of just taking each one and redoing each one, it's easier to clear it out, and then we'll come back in the future with a bond ordinance. But through the hard work of our county employees, our administration, we're able to save money on these projects, which helps us do more down the road. So I want to commend everybody that was involved in those projects, and it helps to keep us reaffirmed in our AAA bond rating. So that is one of the things that I have here. The computer's yelling at me. Just a couple other items that I had. I was to an art show at Middlesex County College for our students throughout the county. It was the awards. It was a beautiful program, beautiful projects, great projects done by the kids that were participating. And a lot of credit goes to the art teachers throughout our county, both public, private schools, county schools, for participating and having their kids be part of the program. And a couple other items. The Daisy Camp Breakfast was recently held in East Brunswick, and this is for their special recreation programs that go on there. It was a fantastic time. All the kids that were out there had a great time. The DJ did a fantastic job. The Hilton, I guess, donates the room and the food. That's part of the process from what I understand. So a great job to the East Brunswick Hilton for doing that every year. This is my second year that I've been able to get there. And the other thing I want to say is I know, just like Freeholder Armwood, I know Freeholder Brady is Freeholder Brady. But through the years, the work that she's done is just living to the motto that you said before. It's always been about not the big projects, the ones that get you the headlines or the credits in the paper. It's about the little stuff, the stuff that helps people every day. Sometimes they don't even realize it's helping them. And so I give her credit, her passion, building that net, making sure that safety net is there, giving that person to step up. I know I was at the graduation program for the kids that went on to get their GEDs. Just a passion in your heart at that program. So good luck, congratulations with your retirement, and I hope you have a long retirement as you've had a long time of serving the community of Middlesex County. Thank you. That's all I have, Director.
Thank you, Freeholder Kenny. Freeholder H. James Bowles.
Ladies and gentlemen, front and back, before I begin to show you why we have this display set up, a couple quick items, and I want to echo the comments of Freeholder Kenny and Freeholder Armwood and certainly the Director. Jane, I guess we've probably worked together with Freeholders the longest, back to 1998, and I will really cherish the time that we had to work together. I learned a lot from you, and I think people don't realize the value added that you had to the way that we operated. By asking the questions that you did, speaking your mind, having an opinion about what was right, what was wrong, and never being fearful to express that. And that's a healthy part of the process that we all were a part of for many, many years, and something that I cherish greatly. You've left your mark on the way that we operate here in many ways, including the recognition of our employees and some of the other programs that you put together. And as the ladies and gentlemen have said, particularly worrying about the social aspect of what we do as government, and that's always been critical to you. For many years, we always said you were the heart and soul of how we operated as government. That will continue to be the case because we've learned from you, and we'll continue to make sure that we are conscious of that in everything we do. So thank you, and we'll definitely be missed. Today, you may see, ladies and gentlemen, many of us are wearing pieces of denim in recognition of Denim Day, and this week is Sexual Violence Awareness Week. We did a proclamation at our last meeting recognizing this month and this period of time as this important program. We actually have a table set up in our county administration building. I think some of us will be there tomorrow to show our support for getting information, education out about sexual violence. It's something that we need to continue to be out in public and out in front about. It's not anything that anyone who's a victim needs to be ashamed about or afraid to talk about. It's something that we need to make sure that as government and as officials, we are there to be supportive and helpful. We also need to make sure that the perpetrators who perpetrate these vicious crimes are taken to task. So I'm glad that Chief Zabrowski is here today for that reason as well. We're fortunate to have great law enforcement in this county who understand that dynamic. They're part of a proactive enforcement program when it comes to domestic violence and other types of sexual violence. They've done sensitivity training. They work closely with our prosecutor's office. And it's important for these people to understand that they will not go unchecked, and that if they do something wrong, there will be someone there to take them to task. So the victims need to understand that there are people here who will support them, and the perpetrators need to understand that there will be consequences for their actions. I was pleased to be on WCPC radio with Ron Rios the other morning. They've now offered him a morning show, from what I understand. We did a half an hour show the other day on Earth Day with WCTC, and it was great. I want to thank our solid waste department, Nikki Gross, and the entire team there, Mike Costi, and everybody for providing us the information. They gave us the information. I think we did a pretty good job of saying it, right, Director? Yes. But now to the table. This week is Emergency Preparedness Week through the federal government. Through our Office of Emergency Management, John Ferguson is here today, Elaine Dugan. We are recognizing something that's very important for residents in this county to understand. Government, police, fire, law enforcement, first aid, EMS, and OEM, emergency management, can do everything to respond to an emergency. However, as residents, we can't be completely dependent upon the services that they provide. The question that we hope that you ask yourselves when you leave today's meeting after I take a minute to explain what's on this table is to go home, look in the mirror, and say, am I prepared? Is your family prepared for the next emergency or disaster that could happen? It wasn't too long ago when we went through Sandy and some of us didn't have power for nearly 2 weeks. There were issues with water and all types of problems that were going on with Sandy. Housing, losing items, losing our homes, losing our personal belongings. The Are You Prepared initiative through the federal government is to make sure that we have the bare essentials in a ready-to-go box. so that at any moment when we have to evacuate or move from our comfort zone, we're able to take with us the documents and their essentials necessary to be able to subsist for a period of time. Documents that you need to be conscious of are things like passports, medical records, insurance policies, driver's licenses. Copies of those should be kept in a secure place in your to-go bag so that in the event that you have to run out, and remember, these emergencies never happen when you're waiting for them to happen. They happen at the most inopportune time. You want to be able to take that box and go and know that you're going to be able to respond and be able to have the basics to get your life back into order. We also recommend through FEMA that certain emergency essentials be provided to you, things like you see up here, flashlights, some basic ready-to-eat type of meals, a little drinking water, canned soup that can easily be heated, flashlight, batteries, a face mask. Think of the dust that occurred when we had the September 11th attack on our nation and the dust cloud that occurred as a result of that, or mold that might creep up in your home or in the area as a result of the flooding situation if you're there for a prolonged period of time. Basic things like rubber gloves, etc. A first aid kit. Never forgetting to have your medications. If you are on medication, you should have a duplicate prescription made by your doctor so that your prescription is ready to go in your box. You should also have some over-the-counter drugs like aspirin and cough syrup and so forth. If you have children who have allergies or other medical conditions, make sure that the medication that they need is also into your to-go box. The bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, is you have to make sure that you're prepared. Emergency services and government can only do so much. Sometimes we need to take responsibility on our own to make sure that we're adequately prepared. The last thing that I want to mention to you that the government says is important and we concur is to have a plan. And this can be important no matter what you're doing in life. Certainly for a major emergency, you want to know where would you move to? What is the likely place that you would go to? Where would you coordinate your efforts from? Perhaps it's a friend or relative outside of the immediate neighborhood, but it's close enough to be able to respond. And do your planning when you're out as well. I have 3 daughters. They're 15, 12, and 10. And we often discuss things when we go to like a mall or if we go to a large organized event, could be a street fair. We always talk to them before the event starts and we tell them, where are we going to meet? If something happens at this event, what is our go-to place? This is the type of planning that families should do. So in the event disaster strikes or a terrorist situation occurs or a natural disaster occurs, you have a pre-plan in place so your family knows where to go, you know where to respond to, and you have all the necessary belongings. So we hope that you find that informative, and as you leave today, ask yourself, am I prepared? Thank you very much, Director.
Thank you. Freeholder Charles Tamaro.
Thank you, Director. And Freeholder Armwood, you mentioned that you brought your students to an Edison meeting? You brought them here for a COM meeting, right? Okay, the Spring Beach Sweep this weekend. There is still time to register and join the Middlesex County Conservation Corps for a Spring Beach Sweep this Saturday on April 26th at Pirates Cove, section of Old Bridge Waterfront Park. Volunteers will gather at the park at Cliffwood Beach to clean the sections along the Raritan Bay in Middlesex County. This project is part of the statewide beach sweep initiative organized by Clean Ocean Action. Thousands of volunteers will be out Saturday from the Raritan Bay all the way down to Cape May Point, lending a hand to keep the beaches and parks clean. For more information to register, call our Office of Parks and Recreation at 732-745-3064, and that's at 501 Raritan Boulevard in Old Bridge. Our tree care in the county parks, one of the most outstanding features of our nearly 11,000 acres of parkland in our county, is our trees. They provide shade for our picnic groves, stabilize our soils, and provide food and shelter for a wide array of wildlife. To ensure the health of these trees and the safety of the public in the parks, the Office of Parks and Recreation has been working diligently to provide the necessary care for our trees. Working together with the county arborist, the park staff has evaluated and inventoried over 5,600 trees in our parks and our open areas. And I've seen the maps, and it was a very tough job to do. And I want to commend our Parks and Recreation for getting this job done. This past winter, the staff spent significant time pruning trees for better health and removing hazardous trees from the parks. 92 trees were pruned and 113 hazardous trees were removed by park staff. By doing this ourselves, the county was able to save more than $108,000 and tree service contracts. While removing hazardous trees is paramount, replacing them is equally important. This spring, 150 trees have already been planted in our parks to replace those that have died or have been damaged. Our integrated program of tree care, removal, and replacement will ensure that future generations will get to enjoy our beauty and natural resource for generations to come. This evening, I have this distinct pleasure of making an announcement, one that has been talked about now for over a month. And our freeholder director is one who is behind this dedication of what's going to happen. As you know, former Middlesex County freeholder and Oak Ridge Mayor James T. Phillip was a strong advocate for the creation of beautiful Oak Ridge waterfront park. His goal was always to bring back the inherent beauty of living on the Raritan Bay. Middlesex County, especially Oak Ridge Township, suffered not only the loss of Oak Ridge Waterfront Park due to the devastation caused by Superstorm Sandy, but it lost its champion, Jim Phillips, on February 1st this year. Jim was a true servant of the people. His dedication and love to the residents of the county and the township of Oak Ridge was unwavering. To say he will be missed is an understatement. It is my pleasure to announce today that the Board of Chosen Freeholders intends to name the newly rebuilt boardwalk Oak Ridge Waterfront Park in the honor of the greatest champion, James T. Phillips. We have scheduled a meeting with Oak Ridge Mayor Owen Henry in May for this occasion to make it happen. So I want to thank Freeholder Director for his idea, and very soon we'll be dedicating that park. I also want to say something about Mrs. Brady. I've known her for a very long time. She served as a committee woman in Edison, and I used to knock on her door a lot. And I have had the pleasure to work with Jane, through the years, not only as a freeholder, but also when she worked with workforce development. But I remembered when Jane came and started McFoods. And her idea was to bring all the areas together in the county that drop off food and have a place for distribution. And we have that because of Jane Brady. And she worked well, she worked with the freeholder director at that time, Dave Crayfield, to make that happen. So something you should always be very proud of, to help out those who need the most, because that's what's always been in your heart, to help the people who really, truly need it. You will be missed. I know anytime that I called out to reach out to you, you were always there with the answers. You were a tremendous help in anything I needed to get done. Thank you for that. I don't know who would ever replace you, but you have to move on. You have to retire. I know you don't play golf, but McFoods, I'm sure, will always need a volunteer. Thank you. That's my report, Director.
Thank you, Freeholder Director. I want to also extend my very best wishes to our former freeholder, Jane Brady. I took her spot. I could not fill her shoes. They're very, very large. And she's done a tremendous job, and McFoods will always be your legacy, and we're so proud of that entity and the work that you put into it, and I know you're going to keep going there. So thank you so much for all you have done. From the Department of Community Services, earlier this month, the second annual Young Men's Conference was held at Middlesex County College Center. This conference, entitled I Am a Boss of My Life, was attended by over 250 young men from the East Brunswick, Perth Amboy, and Piscataway campuses of the Middlesex County Vocational Technical Schools, Carteret, New Brunswick, Piscataway High Schools, Middlesex County Youth Shelter, and Edison Job Corps Center. The keynote address was provided by Baruti Kafuli, I don't think I know how to pronounce that, a motivational speaker and principal who set a positive, energized tone for the day. Conference goals included leadership, wellness, and the prevention of drug and alcohol abuse. Adult workshops were also conducted on topics such as teenage suicide, gang awareness, planning for college, bullying, and current youth drug trends. The program's interactive workshops provided students with opportunities to learn about healthy and empowered lifestyles, equipping them with tools and resources to use themselves and to share with their peers. Registration is now open for the county's annual Senior Citizen Art Contest to be held in July. at our own Middlesex County College Performing Arts Center. This annual event provides professional and non-professional artists with an opportunity to showcase their work. Following the contest and a month-long exhibition, the winning pieces from a variety of mediums will be entered into the State Senior Citizen Art Show. Artists must register with the Middlesex County Office of Aging and Disabled Services to enter their work. Please call 732-745-4267 to request a registration packet or to obtain additional information. I want to urge my fellow freeholders to go over there and take a look. It's amazing. Every year, the works that are there are incredible. That people that are aging and certainly older than some of us do such tremendous work, so I urge you to go and take a look. Thank you, Freeholder Director.
Thank you, Freeholder Valente. I have a few items I'd like to mention. Yes, we did go on WCTC radio on Tuesday morning and Earth Day, which was an important thing that we encourage people to protect the earth. Recycle is such an important thing. Last meeting we had some children that were performing a presentation here on recycling, how important that is. If we didn't recycle and do different practices to save the earth, we have to make sure that we preserve it for our children and our grandchildren and many generations to come. Again, I would like to mention again about Workers' Memorial Day. It's something that's so important, making workplace safety so prioritized. It's just a character that we have to embed in ourselves to make sure that we encourage people to practice that. Our service will be tomorrow morning, 11:30, College Avenue at the seminary, Rutgers Seminary. I'd also like to mention that something also that's near and dear to my heart. We're starting our plans, and we will have our pancreatic cancer walk that will be held on May 31st at Roosevelt Park in Edison. I encourage everyone to please come, walk, donate, register. You can register online through the Cancer Institute in New Jersey. And registration is 8:30 in the morning, and the start of the walk ceremony starts at 9 a.m. It's a short walk. You could walk it, you could run it. You don't have to walk at all if you don't feel like it, if you donate. And through the years that we've started this, I think we raised over $60,000 that went to cancer research. All the money goes to the Cancer Institute for research, and they've made major strides in research for pancreatic cancer. It's one of the lowest funded cancer funds that they get, and it's something that really is a critical cancer that the survival rate is very slim. So I encourage anyone, please donate or register and come for it. It's an enjoyable day as well. We meet and greet different people, and we have much participation from a lot of people. Okay, Mr. Kelso, any resolutions to be added?
There are none.
Any resolutions to be amended?
There are none.
Resolutions to be held?
There are none.
Resolutions to be voided?
There are none.
At this time, I'd like to open up the meeting to the public on any resolution items to be discussed. Only resolution items listed. Anyone from the public?
I move to close the public portion.
Second.
Motion to close by Freeholder Tamaro, seconded by Freeholder Valente. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda and voted separately? Okay, this time, Mr. Kelso.
Yes, Freeholder Director, a motion would then be in order to adopt the consent agenda consisting of resolution numbers 14-588 through resolution 14-738, excluding resolution number 14-738, which was previously voted upon.
Okay, is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Valente, seconded by Freeholder Tamaro. Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood,
Yes.
Freeholder Barabalante,
Yes.
Freeholder Kenny,
Yes.
Freeholder Polos,
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro,
Yes.
Freeholder Valente,
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rios.
Yes. At this time, I'd like to open up the meeting to the public on any item, anything that anyone would like to speak on.
I move to close the public portion.
Second.
Motion to close by Freeholder Tamaro, seconded by Freeholder Valente. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Valente, seconded by Freeholder Tamaro. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.